thanks for tuning in. I'm Brenna Foster, a real estate agent with Simply Home, and today I'm here with Adam, who owns Grassland Graphics. So Grassland Graphics offers logo design, graphic design, website design, and real estate photography, printed media to businesses in and around the Murfreesboro area. So thanks so much for joining me, Adam.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about yourself and how you got into photography and graphic design.
Yeah. So photography, it's kind of interesting. When I was a kid, my dad had, even looking back, what I consider now a nice SLR camera. And
Right.
He was sort of like the dad photographer, but he honestly took some really good photos. And I didn't realize this back then, but we had a conversation when I'd grown up. He's actually going to film school at the time and getting really into that. Yeah. So that kind of sparked my interest.
Yeah.
I think it sparked one of my older brother's interest too, because when
Cool.
DSLR started, go ahead?
He also does that as well and does some photography on the side?
Well, he did. When DSLRs first started coming out, he was kind of an early adopter of some of that technology. And I honestly just thought it was so cool. I think I was in high school at the time. I started taking film classes and things like that.
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
Yeah. And
That's
it wasn't
awesome.
until, when I went off to college, one of my very best buddies had actually bought me a camera, a digital camera, and it wasn't necessarily a DSLR, but it was still pretty nice.
Right.
And, I was able to really kind of dabble in that and grow in my skills, and things kind of slowly took off from there, I guess.
That's awesome. So what kind of got you into just taking pictures in general? Were there like certain things that really got you inspired? What did you kind of take pictures of in the very beginning?
Yeah, so at one time I'd worked at a daycare, kind of a Christian private daycare, and started just taking some photos of some of our students, just having fun and things like that.
I love that. Yeah.
You always kind of just start out just wherever you are, just taking pictures of stuff. And, that was before camera phones and things. So, long ago.
Before that.
Yeah,
you can imagine that time.
An ancient era, long ago. And, that kind of developed a little more. I'd take pictures of friends and things like that.
Right. Gotcha.
And, when I started dating the woman who's now my wife, which I'm super grateful for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I conned her into taking so many photos. I think she really,
she was your subject for a little bit.
She was, yeah, for a long time. She put up with a lot of that stuff. And I just got to say, if there's any photographer out there, or photographer's boyfriend or girlfriend, you really help us out. So
they have to put up with a lot.
Yeah, right.
I love that. I mean, my sister, she got into photography as well in high school. So she was all about, just taking as many pictures as she could. And we went up to the mountains because I'm from Knoxville and that area. So we went up to the mountains, and she'd be like, I was like this, and and she would just always be wanting to take pictures, and I'd be like, can we just enjoy ourselves at the mountains? So I totally understand. Yeah. So how did that kind of turn into how you made money, and how did that turn into a business for you?
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting question. I was actually thinking about that. Part of it was who I knew. Part of it was referrals. There were some other dear friends that I had back then who were really starting to make their own photography career, and that kind of gave me some good opportunities.
Right.
And part of it, honestly, was just kind of putting myself out there.
Absolutely.
It really didn't take off until we had moved. We had moved to Wyoming, and where we lived, it was real scenic. It was real remote. A lot of people came out for tourism and things like that. And thankfully, and with my background in web design, I was able to build a website that was attracting potential photography clients.
Right.
And I think it took off in a way that I hadn't imagined that it would. So
yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned Wyoming. I'm curious to know some of the major differences between Wyoming and Tennessee since you've recently moved here.
Yeah. Well, I was telling somebody the other day, it would take like 2 hours or so to get to Walmart where we live.
Wow. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
I can't.
And now where we live here in Murfreesboro, I mean, you just kind of take your pick and there's Walmart nearby. And I realize some people, you know, are not too into that, but living in Wyoming for as long as we did, man, that's something I'm never going to take for granted. Just the modern conveniences. It almost felt like we were re-entering society when we moved out here. So
wow. I mean, that's pretty amazing. That is. So I've seen the pictures that you have on your website of Wyoming. I mean, it is gorgeous. So were you always living in Wyoming? Were you born and raised there?
Yeah. So that's a story in and of itself. So my wife and I are both from the West Coast. I know people don't like to hear that out here. So
I know some people don't like to hear that for sure.
Yeah. But when we got married, we actually had some friends who went to Northwest Wyoming to start a church. And they had asked my wife and I to move out there and just support them and help out with some different things. So, you know, of course, we were newly married, just had a baby, and just packed up everything and headed up to the wild white north. So,
any crazy experiences out there?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, we had a pretty good snowstorm out here a couple weeks ago.
But we did.
Now things are starting to green. My lawn's starting to get green. I think in Wyoming right now, you know, there's still several feet buried in snow. So
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't.
But, you know, it was a lot of fun. I really feel like that's where my wife and I kind of came into our own as adults.
Right.
You know, and man, we really, the cost of living where we lived was extremely high. So there was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, believe it or not. The last 10 years were pretty interesting. But, you know, I learned how to really kind of do a lot of important things out there. Some odd things like splitting firewood and you know, mountain man type things.
Yep. Mountain man type things. Okay.
Right.
Yep, for sure. So, and then you also started your business out there for sure. So that's, you know, a big thing as well. So what kind of graphic design and web design services do you offer?
Yeah. So I offer, I guess you would say, sort of your traditional graphic design.
Right.
You know, like flyers, business cards, logo creation, posters. Print media. And print media is actually where I got more of my start in graphic design. You know, I had this boss, I'll never forget him, a boss back in California. His name was Sharon, and he really took a chance in hiring me to help out at his print shop. But
that's awesome.
Here I am today, still with those skills. So
yep. You got to develop them for sure.
yeah, I really appreciate him. I appreciate him more now that I'm much older. But in web design, I offer sort of basic web design packages for individuals, professionals, small and medium-sized businesses. I also offer, you know, e-commerce type packages. Really, I guess sort of wherever your business is at. I particularly like to work with small and medium-sized businesses, but you know, I guess it just kind of depends on need. Yeah.
So what does that kind of look like when you say small to medium-sized businesses?
Yeah, sure. You know, like a handyman might be considered a professional service provider, an individual.
Right.
A contractor might have just sort of a small staff. You know, all the way up to like a small medical practice maybe, or a small retail store.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
more of my groove, I think.
Right. Yeah. So what does the pricing look like for your services that you offer as well? I know you kind of mentioned some packages.
Yeah. So we have sort of our traditional pricing. You know, I know a lot of people are a little bit scared of the, you know, big upfront cost of web design, but some people just want to pay everything up front and get it over with too.
Absolutely.
So you know, that's something that we offer. But we also offer month-to-month packages, you know, small, more kind of approachable packages for, again, aimed more at individuals, people who know that they need a website, especially in this day and age.
Right.
You know, you might be a service provider working out of your home. Nobody has a storefront where they can meet you or anything.
Very
like
true.
that.
Yes.
So really your website becomes your storefront. Your website becomes sort of your first impression for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
you know, it's really important. So, you know, we have small packages, and we really do like to meet individual providers where they're at. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the fact that you're able to do month by month, I bet helps a lot of small business owners as well, because they don't have to pay it up front. So that's awesome that you provide that.
yeah,
I know that
yeah,
I know that you also help realtors like me with real
yeah.
estate photography and, even website design and logo design as well. So tell me more about what you offer specifically for realtors with the photography.
Yeah, yeah. So I do offer sort of your basic interior and exterior package.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I bring my own lighting setup. Obviously, I have professional level equipment. I shoot
Right.
exclusively Nikon. I don't know if that matters to anybody. It probably doesn't matter at all.
Probably matters to some people. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but sorry, there's a worker who just showed up. I just had to wave him in. I apologize for that.
You're all good.
Um, but yeah, so I offer interior and exterior photography.
Okay.
You know, I'll travel out to the location. You know, you don't need to actually be there if you don't want to be there. Um,
Right.
I bring my own lighting equipment. I also offer 360 tours. That's something that's really picked up, especially
That's
with the
awesome.
pandemic. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you
Yes.
know, giving people a chance to sort of tour and walk through a home without actually being
Right.
there. You know, totally negating any kind of health concerns, putting yourself there into the home right from the convenience of your computer or you know
Right.
wherever you are, your phone. That's something that I think has really picked up this year. So I offer that, and I know
Absolutely.
that's a big thing on platforms like Zillow. They like
Right.
to,
Yes. That's huge
yeah,
on Zillow.
yeah, they like to
Yes.
push out those 360 tours. And
Right.
you know, I also have professional drone photographers that I
Oh,
work with.
awesome.
Yeah, and we offer video packages as well.
Okay.
You know, so
That's awesome.
really kind of the whole gamut. Yeah,
Yes. So you have the whole package, because I know a lot of realtors are, using the drone shots more and more. I mean, that's a huge part of it. So
yeah,
that's pretty awesome. So what are the packages that kind of come along with that, and what's the pricing typically for that as well?
yeah. So right now, my most basic photography package for interior and exterior, um, you know, usually about a 2,000 square foot home up to about
Okay.
there, is 175 per house.
Okay. Not bad at all.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
lower. I'm trying to understand the market a little bit because where we were,
absolutely.
housing was maybe 3 or 4 times the cost that it is out here. So just
Yeah.
trying to keep it real a little more out here, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Um,
that's awesome. That's definitely affordable for out here for sure. Um,
yeah. And then
yeah.
you know, with the option for 360 tours and things like that, we could just kind of talk about what that looks like, kind of going
Right.
up from there. So
Yeah, I love the 360 tours. I think that just adds an element. I mean, it's so important right now to be able just to look at the home online, and because some people are buying from California, from out west, like you were saying, and they're not
yeah,
able to buy, and they're buying it sight unseen. So that is huge, to be able to just have the 360 tour and go through it like you are walking through the house typically. So that's an awesome thing that you offer for sure.
yeah.
So what do you kind of do to make your picture stand out? Is there some type of editing that you do as well for that?
Yeah, my kind of photography philosophy is you try and get as much right as you can in camera.
Right.
Uh, so a lot of that has to do with sort of the angle of the room. I know some rooms are
Right.
really tricky,
Yeah.
especially in Wyoming where we're from. Sometimes I'd be shooting in a cabin with really tight rooms. It's dark,
Right.
uh, So making sure your lighting
Absolutely.
is dialed in, making sure your shots are nice and crisp and clean.
Right.
I do standard HDR type editing as
Okay.
well, just to make sure that if there's scenery coming in through a window or anything like that,
Right.
it's nice and visible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
professional photography goes a long way. Um, Again, with so many people shopping for you know real estate online right now. Yeah,
Yes.
and I know there's a lot of inventory out here. A lot of properties are moving really fast.
Right.
But still, you got to find a way to sort of set yourself apart from
Absolutely.
the competition out there, you know.
For sure. You do. I mean, it's definitely a competitive market out here. And the photos just add, you know, just even more value to your listing. So it's awesome that you're able to do that and do the 360 tours. So, okay. Yeah. So how quickly do you have the turnaround from, you know, being able to go shoot the house, you know, do all of the pictures and then edit them and have them out to the agent?
Yes, that's a good question. Generally, I try and aim for 1 to 2 business days.
Okay, awesome. Very quick.
Yeah. Sometimes that depends on just how many volumes of shoots I actually have at that time. But I understand some of these agents are trying to crank these things out pretty quick too. So I do offer rush packages and things like that. I could have them to you as early as the next morning sometimes. So
absolutely.
And I will say that's for photography. 360 tours, some of that takes a little bit of time to process since there's AI involved. Videography and things like that, you know, we usually try and get it out as fast as we can, but sometimes that obviously is a little bit more of an involved process.
I imagine so, for sure. So do you have any other services that you offer through your company that you want business owners to know about?
Yeah, you know, one thing we started offering recently, you know, going a little bit back to web design, but this also makes a difference for real estate, because actually real estate SEO is very important as well. We started offering content writing, like blogging, article creation. Yeah, and it's not just like writing about like, oh, you know, whatever we kind of feel like writing about. You know, our topics that we pick are based on research. You know, using some sort of semi-expensive SEO tools.
That's awesome.
And, and I think a lot of our clients have seen, you know, over the course of a few months, their Google rank and things like that really grow, just through blogging and article creation. That's actually the #1 way to increase your Google rank is blogging.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting. So it's the #1 way. And that makes sense because it makes you more clickable and you have, you know, research behind you as well. That's really awesome. So, okay. So if any business owners are interested in any of the services that we talked about today, what is the best way to get in touch with you? Is that through your website, through your cell phone number?
You can go to grasslandgraphics.com. You can also go to adamjhoward.com, which is my photography website. Just trying to sort of keep those two things separate, even though it's all just mostly me and some people on my team.
You're a one-man show.
Sure. You can also reach me. You can also reach me at 615-592-1228. If anybody wants to give me a shout, give me a text message or phone call, and I'd love to chat.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Adam, for taking the time out of your busy day to meet with me and tell me about your business. And thank you so much for watching. And once again, my name is Brenna Foster. I'm a real estate agent at Simply Home. And be sure to check out our local community website at welovemurfreesboro.com. And if you have a business that you want to be featured, reach out to me today. All right.